Hello, bonjour, and welcome to the Canadian Commercial Corporation's annual public meeting. Thank you for joining us. I'm Douglas Harrison, Chair of CCC's Board of Directors, and I'm pleased to be here today to review the organization's results for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. We are presenting our meeting online so that we can reach the greatest number of Canadians. Should you have any questions pertaining to the information shared in this video, please direct them to communications@ccc.ca, and it will be our pleasure to provide you with an answer via email. I'd like to acknowledge that we are in Toronto today and that the land on which we are gathered is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, and most recently the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We pay our respect to the Indigenous peoples, their ancestors, and their contributions to this great country. Our hope at CCC is that by recognizing the land on which we live and work, it is a step to bringing about a meaningful path to reconciliation. For almost 80 years, CCC has been supporting the Government of Canada's international trade and foreign policy agendas while helping Canadian companies sell goods and services to governments around the world. The corporation plays a niche but critically important role in Canada's trade team as the only Canadian government agency that provides international contracting expertise to Canadian businesses. We work alongside the Government of Canada partners such as Global Affairs Canada, the Department of National Defence, the Trade Commissioner Service, and Export Development Canada to promote and support exports by Canadian companies. CCC's government-to-government contracting strategy aligns with the Government of Canada's policies in international trade. It creates opportunities to develop and strengthen bilateral relationships while facilitating export opportunities for Canadian companies that might otherwise be beyond their reach. Despite a challenging economy in 2023-2024 that was marked by evolving geopolitics, CCC continued to deliver record results for Canadians and for Canadian exporters. The corporation delivered an almost 40% year-over-year increase in contracts signed during the fiscal year. CCC delivers its services through three business lines: the Defence Production Sharing Agreement, which provides access to procurement opportunities with the U.S. Department of Defense; International Prime Contracting, which serves government-to-government opportunities across a range of industries and countries; and Sourcing and Emergency Response, which serves Government of Canada departments. These lines of business will be discussed in greater detail by CCC's president later in the meeting. CCC's strategy, now in its fourth year, takes a three-pillared approach to guide the corporation in delivering on its mandate and the three business lines. The growth pillar seeks to grow Canadian exports by working with new and existing client companies in responding to foreign government demand for Canadian exporter goods and services. The operational excellence pillar improves, simplifies, and streamlines business processes for our clients. And the environmental, social, and governance pillar builds on CCC's experience in applying responsible business conduct practices and strives to embed ESG principles and thinking into everything we do. CCC simplifies and expedites acquisitions by foreign governments from Canadian companies across a range of sectors, including aerospace, defense and security, information and communications, technology, clean tech and energy, and public infrastructure. CCC's contracts with foreign governments are backed by the Government of Canada, and as such carry a guarantee that contract terms and conditions will be met. This guarantee helps mitigate the buyer's risk and helps enable procurement from Canada. Government-to-government projects can be large, complex, and politically sensitive, requiring expertise that only an organization like CCC can offer. This collaboration on important acquisitions deepens bilateral relationships, reduces procurement risks for the supplier and for the buyer, and can strengthen the bankability of certain projects. CCC has a robust enterprise risk management framework that mitigates risks for the Government of Canada and by extension all Canadians. Reviewed annually by the Board of Directors, the framework provides guidance on risk governance, setting strategic objectives, performance, communications and reporting, and it monitors the appetite and tolerance for entity-wide corporate and transactional risks. Our risk management approach complements our environmental, social, and governance strategy, which sets the foundation for increased oversight and transparency to encourage responsible and sustainable business conduct. To broaden engagement with all sectors of Canadian industry and international trade, and to deliver stronger environmental stewardship. Our ESG strategy includes scoping for and implementing an emissions reduction plan that will inform CCC's future reporting and align with the recommendations of the government's task force on climate-related financial disclosures. In addition to promoting responsible business conduct with Canadian exporters and reporting on the corporation's transactional disclosures, the ESG strategy also supports inclusive economic participation and implements measures to collect and report data on the diversity of CCC's exporter base. As a Crown Corporation, CCC is governed by a board of directors and is accountable to Parliament through the Minister of Export Promotion, International Trade and Economic Development. The board ensures delivery of the corporation's statutory mandate and public policy objectives on behalf of the Government of Canada. It provides leadership and guidance to the corporation's management team and ensure the corporation's long-term strategic direction aligns with the Minister's annual Statement of Priorities and Accountabilities. CCC had an outstanding year in 2023-2024, with the corporation's employees delivering value for Canadians by generating the equivalent of approximately $30 million of exports for every CCC employee. These exports also helped create and sustain almost 15,000 jobs in Canada. CCC will continue to prioritize operational excellence to add even more value to our support for Canadian exporters, just as we continue to strengthen our commitment to positive environmental, social, and governance practices. I would personally like to thank Minister Mary Ng for her continued support for the important work of CCC and her trust in our vision. I would also like to thank my board colleagues for their dedication and stewardship, as well as CCC's management team and all our team members for their contributions throughout the record year. We are confident in CCC's position to bring Canadian skills and expertise to bear in foreign markets, to strengthen bilateral relationships with governments around the world, and to help execute on the Government of Canada's trade agenda.
Thank you for joining us. Merci de nous joindre aujourd'hui. My name is Bobby Kwan, and I'm pleased to serve as CCC's President and Chief Executive Officer. CCC delivered another record year for Canadians in 2023-24, testament to a clear strategic corporate vision and strong relationships with Canadian exporters. We continue to take decisive steps throughout the year to fulfill the objectives set out in our corporate plan. The corporation facilitates exports from diverse sectors to deliver economic benefits to Canadian businesses and their employees through both international sales and by creating and maintaining Canadian jobs. In 2023-24, CCC signed $3.2 billion in new government-to-government export contracts, a 40% increase over the previous year. CCC was active in 62 countries worldwide, and we supported exports of goods and services valued at $3.6 billion. Our efforts supported 559 Canadian businesses and helped create or sustain almost 15,000 jobs in Canada. These contracts were signed across our three business lines: the Canada-US Defense Production Sharing Agreement, the International Prime Contracting, and Sourcing. As Canada's steward of the Defense Production Sharing Agreement, known as the DPSA, CCC helps Canadian businesses access opportunities to sell to the United States Department of Defense. This bilateral defense trade agreement between Canada and the U.S. enshrines Canada as part of the U.S. domestic military supply base. This allows Canadian exporters to sell goods and services to the U.S. Department of Defense on equal footing with U.S.-based competitors. In 2023-24, our DPSA business grew to $1.1 billion of new export contracts for Canadian exporters, up from $885 million the prior year. We attribute this volume to CCC's efforts to strengthen collaboration with Canadian exporters, to increase awareness of the DPSA across the U.S. Department of Defense, and to drive new and diverse areas of Canadian supply to meet the needs of the U.S. DoD today and in the future. CCC's support for DPSA has been an important part of Canada-U.S. defense trade since 1956. It supports a strong, effective, highly integrated, and resilient North American industrial base that serves the economic and strategic interests of both countries. In addition to military goods, the U.S. military purchases massive volumes of food, medical equipment, and construction supplies every year. CCC works with Canadian companies, including small and medium-sized enterprises, to meet these needs, which can range from navigation and nautical systems, chartered passenger flights, surgical instruments, and even snow removal equipment. My colleague Deanne will provide examples of some of these contracts later. CCC also supported Canadian exporters through our International Prime Contracting business line, which responds to foreign government demand for government-to-government acquisitions. The IPC service is designed to support Canadian business success in selling to foreign governments with end-to-end service from contract negotiations to final delivery. The IPC service allows CCC to advocate on behalf of Canadian businesses, to seek the right terms and conditions for contract success, and to troubleshoot throughout the process from project development to final payment. This business line supports a broad range of Canadian clients and industries to sell and execute contracts with governments around the world, with a recent focus on the transition to clean energy, especially nuclear energy, and the aerospace and defense sectors. In 2023-24, the total value of new IPC export contracts was $1.8 billion. CCC approaches these opportunities with a rigorous risk management approach that involves regular consultation with Government of Canada stakeholders and a due diligence regime that upholds Canada's high standards for human rights and responsible business practices. For our third business line, CCC's sourcing service provides procurement expertise and responds to urgent needs across the federal government to quickly and effectively support international aid or assistance programs. In 2023-24, CCC continued its partnership with Global Affairs Canada and the Department of National Defense to procure and deliver Canadian assistance to the Ukrainian government for a total value of $352 million. In addition to these three business lines, CCC builds awareness of our government-to-government contracting services among Canadian companies of all sizes and with diverse ownership profiles. CCC supported more than 550 Canadian companies in their exporting journeys in 2023-24 through contracts, advisory service, and referrals. Of these companies, 80% were small or medium-sized enterprises, and approximately 10% were owned or led by individuals from underrepresented groups. CCC was also actively engaged in the Minister's Business Economic and Trade Recovery Team, known as BETTER. CCC's work with BETTER prioritized initiatives to improve information and content about Canada's export services, to promote Canada-ASEAN collaboration, and to assist new Canadian exporters in their trade journey. CCC also delivered value to Canadian exporters with initiatives that add more value for clients. One such initiative was launched in 2023-24 to guide CCC's digital transformation and strengthen the corporation's cybersecurity. This includes streamlining and enhancing the integration of systems and applications, improving accessibility and reliability of data for reporting and analytics, optimizing automation to improve customer experience, and standardizing operations. The corporation also advanced on our HR strategy commitments. CCC counts its employees as its greatest asset and has increasingly focused on modernizing recruitment tools to ensure that we have the skills to satisfy the evolving needs of Canadian exporters and to promote the corporation as an attractive option for top applicants. In closing, I would like to thank the Board of Directors for their continued support and guidance. I'm also grateful to my management team colleagues and all our team members for their support of our clients. As we look forward, I'm optimistic about CCC's future and its ability to serve the evolving needs of Canadian companies even more effectively, to support the Government of Canada's trade priorities, and to continue delivering even more of Canada to the world.
Bonjour et bienvenue à tous les téléspectateurs. Je m'appelle Diane Montembeault et j'ai l'honneur d'occuper le poste de vice-présidente gestion des contrats et opérations à la Corporation commerciale canadienne. À la CCC, nous soutenons le commerce du Canada avec d'autres pays et renforçons les relations commerciales bilatérales depuis près de 80 ans. Nous soutenons les exportateurs canadiens du tout début jusqu'à la fin de leur parcours contractuel. Grâce à son expertise développée au fil des ans, la CCC aide les exportateurs à naviguer dans des marchés complexes, procède à l'administration des contrats et travaille en étroite collaboration avec l'exportateur canadien et l'acheteur du gouvernement étranger afin d'identifier et atténuer les risques en plus de supporter la résolution de conflits et de participer à l'élaboration de solutions. Les services de gestion des contrats de la CCC comportent également l'assurance du gouvernement du Canada que le contrat sera exécuté conformément aux conditions convenues entre les parties. Aujourd'hui, j'aimerais souligner quelques-uns des contrats que la CCC a exécutés au cours de l'exercice financier 2023-2024 par l'entremise de nos secteurs d'activité de l'Accord sur le partage de production de la défense ou l'APPD, le service de maître d'œuvre international et notre service d'approvisionnement. L'administration de l'accord sur le partage de la production de défense au nom du gouvernement du Canada est le principal mandat de politique publique de la CCC. Cet accord commercial de la défense entre le Canada et les États-Unis consacre le Canada comme partie intégrante de la base d'approvisionnement militaire nationale des États-Unis, permettant aux exportateurs canadiens de vendre des biens et des services au département de la Défense des États-Unis sur un pied d'égalité avec les concurrents basés aux États-Unis. L'APPD soutient une base industrielle de défense nord-américaine intégrée et résiliente qui sert les intérêts économiques et stratégiques des deux pays. En 2023-2024, la CCC a signé des contrats d'une valeur de 1,1 milliard de dollars dans le cadre de l'APPD. Parmi ces contrats figure un accord entre la CCC et l'armée américaine visant à accroître la capacité de production de propulsion d'artillerie de General Dynamics Ordnance and Technical Systems Canada à Valleyfield, au Québec. L'accord représente un investissement important dans la chaîne d'approvisionnement partagée de la défense en tirant parti de la technologie, du savoir-faire et de l'infrastructure éprouvée de GDOTS Valleyfield pour augmenter la production de matériel de ravitaillement de munitions de 155 mm. Un autre contrat de l'APPD a été attribué à Thornhill Medical, basé à Toronto, pour fournir des systèmes d'anesthésie et de maintien des fonctions vitales au département de la Défense des États-Unis. Thornhill Medical a développé un système de survie portable et fonctionnant sur batterie appelé Moves SLC. Ces systèmes offrent une surveillance complète des signes vitaux en plus de l'oxygène, le tout dans une seule unité, qui peut relever en toute sécurité les défis de la prestation de soins médicaux d'urgence dans des circonstances difficiles telles que les catastrophes naturelles et les zones de conflit. L'expertise et le soutien que la CCC offre aux entreprises canadiennes par l'intermédiaire de l'APPD comprennent l'aide à l'interprétation du système d'acquisition du département de la Défense des États-Unis. Cela est crucial, en particulier pour les petites entreprises qui souhaitent naviguer dans ce système vaste et complexe. La société J.A. Larue est un exemple de petite entreprise soutenue par la CCC dans le cadre de l'APPD en 2023-2024. Cette entreprise de Québec a obtenu 2 commandes d'équipements de déneigement d'une valeur de plus de 2 millions de dollars pour le département de la Défense des États-Unis. En plus de son mandat d'administrer l'APPD, la CCC offre un service de maître d'œuvre international qui répond à la demande des gouvernements étrangers pour des acquisitions de gouvernement à gouvernement. La CCC a signé un important contrat tripartite dans ce secteur d'activité en 2023 entre la CCC, Atkin Realis et la Société nationale d'électricité nucléaire de Roumanie. D'une valeur de plus de 700 millions de dollars, ce contrat fournit un soutien technique et des composants de réacteurs pour prolonger la durée de vie du réacteur Candu de l'unité 1 de la centrale nucléaire de Cernavoda en Roumanie. Alors que la Roumanie effectue la transition vers une énergie fiable et à faible émission de carbone, le réacteur Candu remis à neuf fournira un flux d'énergie ininterrompu, sans émissions et à faible coût à la Roumanie et à la Moldavie voisine. Comme environ 85 % du projet sera exécuté au Canada, ce contrat soutiendra des emplois bien rémunérés au Canada tout en assurant la sécurité énergétique de la Roumanie. Tout au long de l'année, la CCC a également consacré beaucoup de temps et de ressources à la négociation d'un important contrat d'avion de lutte contre les incendies entre la Société des Havilland Canada, la Protection civile et opérations d'aide humanitaire européenne et certains États membres de l'Union européenne. Ce contrat s'est concrétisé au cours de l'exercice 2024-2025 et nous avions bien hâte de vous fournir plus de détails dans notre prochain rapport annuel. Notre activité de maître d'œuvre international s'aligne sur les priorités du gouvernement du Canada et se concentre sur les secteurs de l'aérospatiale et de la défense, ainsi que sur la transition vers l'énergie propre. Cependant, de temps à autre, les contrats de la CCC jouent sur une partition très différente. En mars 2024, la CCC a obtenu un contrat pour la fourniture d'un orgue à tuyaux de fabrication canadienne à une cathédrale de Perth en Australie. Dans le cadre du contrat de gouvernement à gouvernement de la CCC, les artisans d'orgues Les Tourneaux, une petite entreprise de Saint-Hyacinthe au Québec, concevront, construiront, installeront et feront sonner un nouvel orgue en chêne rouge composé de milliers de tuyaux. Depuis près de 60 ans, le service d'approvisionnement de la CCC offre une expertise en matière de passation de marché pour appuyer la prestation de l'aide internationale du gouvernement du Canada lorsque des achats rapides ou complexes sont nécessaires. Par exemple, au début de la pandémie de COVID-19, la CCC a aidé le gouvernement à s'approvisionner en équipements de protection individuelle pour plusieurs pays d'Asie et d'Afrique. Ces projets hautement prioritaires sont exécutés avec la plus grande diligence. Depuis mars 2022, la Corporation est très fière de faciliter les efforts du gouvernement du Canada pour soutenir le gouvernement et le peuple de l'Ukraine dans leurs efforts contre l'invasion illégale et le conflit de la Russie. Depuis lors, la CCC a passé plus de 90 contrats pour une valeur de presque 1,5 milliard de dollars destinés à l'Ukraine pour des articles allant de l'équipement militaire aux vêtements d'hiver tels que les bottes, les parkas, les sacs de couchage et les chauffages portables. En 2023-2024, la CCC a collaboré avec Affaires mondiales Canada pour acheter et livrer des systèmes de déminage télécommandés et des combinaisons anti-explosion. Le projet de déminage est un élément important du programme global d'aide humanitaire du Canada à l'Ukraine et un élément clé du futur travail de reconstruction du pays. Quelques mois après leur arrivée en Ukraine, les machines de déminage du Canada ont été utilisées avec succès pour éliminer des engins explosifs dans la région de Kherson afin de restaurer des terres agricoles. La CCC s'engage à optimiser ses activités pour ses clients. Nous continuons à améliorer l'expérience et le soutien des clients en modernisant nos capacités numériques, en encourageant une organisation orientée vers la performance et en maintenant de solides processus de gestion des risques. Ensemble, nous nous réjouissons de faire connaître encore plus le Canada au monde entier dans les années à venir. Merci de vous être joints à nous aujourd'hui.